So if you followed along with the show or the podcasts, you've heard us talk a little bit about the cars we own. Now, I have a wife, I have a son, and we've had a GMC Acadia for about 5 years. In fact, we bought it new right before my son was born. The Acadia is a perfectly good car. It's a great minivan alternative. Everything inside is very plastic. It makes it very good for toddlers and infants and things where food and grime is going to just fly around. Perfect for that.
Is there such thing as a perfect car? You might say no. You might say there is no one car that somebody could own that does everything so well that it might just be your only car. Of course, there will never be the substitution for the fun that is sports cars and the kind of cars that you and Todd and I love.
And I have to laugh because my wife looked at me after 5 years of driving the Acadia and she said to me, I want to have a car I really love and enjoy. And I thought, well, it's hard for me to argue that since that's what the whole show is about, except she's a truck girl. Well, she's from Texas. She likes trucks. She likes the truck ride height. That's always been her thing. But the crazy thing is, for what our Acadia is now worth, we can almost straight swap into this, a 2010 Porsche Cayenne. That's right, the non-Porsche guy of the show went and bought a Porsche. In many ways, this feels like an everyday driver poster child car. The original price this sold for 5 years ago was $65,800. I got it for almost a third of what it originally cost. Think about that for a minute. So this has about 300 horsepower. It's a V6. It doesn't have the overly complicated air suspension that you get on the turbo models. This is a base Cayenne. Hopefully it's going to be very reliable. I mean, because it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, there's less that can go wrong.
But what's so interesting is every car manufacturer tries to build some variation of the car that does it all. The one car that you could own as a family, as an individual, that will kind of do it all. For the Cayenne, this was a car that was late to the game, late to the SUV or the CUV, however you want to look at this car. In many cases, if you let your competitors sort of forge the trail and then see what they did right and see what they did wrong, you can really improve on just about anything they do. There's a reason the Cayenne is Porsche's best-selling model. It is this car that pretty much subsidizes all the 911 and Cayman sales. I've driven a few variations, and every time I get in, I'm stunned at how well this car drives. It's a hulking SUV. It's a hulking car. It's gigantic in comparison to most. This car, in comparison to the GMC Acadia, Acadia is fine. It's great. But you don't really notice a difference in the driving feel until you hop into a Cayenne. But just like all of Porsche's cars, they get more fun the faster you go. Cayennes are no exception. First corner I turn into in this car, it's actually delightful. It actually reminds you that indeed you're driving a Porsche.
But the crazy thing is, this feels significantly faster and lighter on its feet than the Acadia does. The Acadia was never fun to drive fast. This Cayenne, it's kind of hard to keep yourself from driving it quickly. Interestingly enough, stats-wise, this has almost exactly the same stats for engine and weight as the Acadia. It's actually a tiny bit heavier than the Acadia. But the crazy thing is, this feels significantly faster and lighter on its feet than the Acadia does. Look at this. I'm not even trying. I'm going 80 on a back road and I haven't even worked hard yet. The Acadia at this speed would be borderline frightening. The two biggest downsides to the Acadia, which again, was fine. It was a perfectly good family vehicle, but the two biggest downsides always were the slow response of the transmission and the really marginal seats.
I feel like the answer lies in this little button right here. It's the sport button. That changes the personality of this car.
Gear changes are much snappier. It really responds much better to sport mode. In fact, my wife likes it so much, she never takes it out of sport.
But the difference, the Acadia feels like minivan and truck just sort of put into a blender. The recipe was not that compelling. The seating position alone should give you a tip-off.
Seats are fantastic. In fact, Paul, who is both a Porsche snob and a seat snob, got in these seats the first time and went, yeah, these are great seats.
Yes, you're still in a large car, but you sit so much more snugly down in this car, if that's possible. Again, I know it's an SUV.
My wife is not short. She's 5'7". I mean, she's shorter than me, but she's not overly short. However, she likes that high seating position that is a truck girl thing. So let me demonstrate real quick. This is my seating position that I'm in, obviously, right now. Let me show you what happens when I go to hers. I'm going to hit my head. Okay. See, this is where she drives. Yeah, every time I get in this now, I just go, we own this? This is a great car. And that's a great feeling we want you guys to have as well. So here with this Cayenne, we have the first of a series of long-term videos about this car and others that we'll be adding to the show lineup. We're going to do videos about every quarter on this Cayenne and about other cars that Paul and I own to talk to you guys about what it is like to buy a used performance car and how it works in real life.
So, is there a perfect car? Well, no. But a used Cayenne comes pretty close.
So who knows what the future will be of this Cayenne. We're going to let you guys in on that, and hopefully if you find a great deal on a car you've always wanted, you'll buy it too.